Hello and welcome to ITIM number 19. I'm your host Tim Sonelli, and today we're in sunny Yarrawonga with owner-operator of Lekeal Homes, Ken Stevenson. G'day Ken.
Hi Tim, how are you?
I normally shake hands at this point, but due to COVID land, we'll keep our distance.
Yeah, it's a bit sad.
Yeah. So Ken, for those of you who don't know anything about you, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My business is called Lekeal Builders in Yarrawonga. We operate out of Yarrawonga, Albury, Wangaratta, and we do houses virtually anywhere within an hour or so of Yarrawonga. We're custom builders. We build really high quality homes.
Yeah. And how long have you been in business for?
For myself, around 30 years out of my 38-year working life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been a footy coach before? You've coached a few footy teams?
Yeah, love my footy. Only gave it away a couple of years ago as a coach. Coached for 14 years and was lucky enough to get 4 or 5 premierships out of that. Started in the Benevolent District League and ended up coaching in the Ovens and Murray Footy League, which was a fantastic experience. On the way through, had a great time at Gindera where we won a couple of premierships, so I learned a lot about dealing with people through that period of time.
I was going to say, with being a football coach, what has been the biggest thing you've learned that you've been able to apply in your business as a footy coach to business?
Yeah, I think communication and learning how to talk to people is probably the biggest thing. Understanding tradies and understanding people and understanding your clients as well, understanding and having empathy for people and understanding the stress that they go through, the stress that sometimes comes when you're building a house. Some people find it very difficult, other people find it fun and relaxing, so you've got to be able to adjust to each person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And being able to talk with staff, or communicate with staff?
Yeah, definitely. Look, staff are obviously a massive part of any good business. Mm-hmm. Having the right staff is probably the most important thing, and the communication with the staff is critical.
Right. Yeah. Any other things that you've learned as a coach that you've implemented in business?
Oh, there's been lots of things that I learned as a coach that I've implemented in business. Planning when you're coaching is probably one of the biggest things, so obviously that relates very seriously to business. Planning is one of the most important things you can do in business, and I found that in footy as well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Lekeal's been running for 15 years then?
Yeah, 15 years, yeah.
What's been the biggest, most impactful lesson you've learned in that time?
I think planning and structures and making sure you've got the right people around you. Having extremely good mentors is probably the thing that changed my life. I found it really difficult early on in my business life to understand, not having a tertiary education as such, trying to understand many different aspects of business, because most of us guys as tradespeople that go in to end up being builders, we don't have the background in accounting, we don't have the background in advertising, we don't have the background in people skills. We've virtually come online as a skilled person, as in being able to build a house, but then there's all these other aspects that come in. So I surrounded myself with some mentors who I was very fortunate to meet, and people that have helped me in a big way in other areas that I didn't understand.
Yeah, okay. I can imagine that having different, how can I say this, different mentors will give you different advice at different times, obviously.
Absolutely. So that's probably the main thing that I would say that I've learned is that, I have some great friends that are my mentors. Certainly most of my mentors are trusted friends as well. Fortunately for me, they've been in a number of different styles and types of businesses, so they're able to give me advice on many different areas in my own business that they've had a huge amount of experience in. Whereas if I was to try to get them to build a house, they would be very good at it.
You've had experience in scaling your business up. So when you first started out, what did you start out with when you first started?
There was virtually, probably in the first year we built 2 homes. From there we very gradually scaled up on a turnover basis, and it sort of went from 1 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 12 to 15, right up to a peak at 22 million turnover for our business. It became a very large beast, as I would call it.
Yep.
And you know, it has a real impact on your life when you start getting very big. You need the right people around you. Yeah.
I was going to say, how did you get that work-life balance?
I don't think I did it fantastically for a start, and that's probably one of the big things that made me change direction in my business a little bit. We really wanted to build a super quality product, not just build houses.
Yep.
We've always been like that. So as we got bigger, the end product was still fantastic, but it became harder to achieve that. And so I really wanted to make sure that we could follow the market and the trends and do what we could do, and that became really difficult as we got larger and larger.
Yeah. And then for those who are watching who are thinking about scaling up, what's the biggest tip you can give them to do if they're looking to scale up their business? What can they do?
There's no one secret tip to scaling up your business. I'm all for it. I've always been one that said if you're not going forwards, you're going backwards.
Yep.
So it can be really difficult at times, because in these tough environmental times, I think the key thing is that you've got to be able to adapt to what's happening. So you've got to be able to, it's all great to scale your business up, but then if it becomes too reliant on too high a turnover, I think you can get yourself into trouble. So what you've got to be able to do is adapt to the current marketplace. If the marketplace and the trends are really dropping off, because the building industry is so vulnerable, so up and down, that if you can see those trends and read them quite well, you can adjust what you're doing in your business and make sure that you can adjust to that turnover base, not relying on turning over too much money.
Yeah.
I'd say you've got to be able to adjust, yes.
And that's probably timely for, we're in COVID land now. How have you adjusted to the current circumstances?
Well, interestingly enough, one of my key mentors spoke to me about 14 months ago. He was in the money markets and a number of different things, and what he spoke to me about was the fact that he felt we were going to have some sort of downturn very soon. He advised me strongly to make some changes within my business.
So this is before COVID. Did you know that COVID was coming?
Yeah, about 14 months ago now.
Yeah.
He felt that something was going to happen, not that it was anything to do with COVID, of course, but really that we were going to have some downturn.
Yeah.
And his advice to me was, you know, adjust now so you're prepared for a downturn. If I didn't have him as a mentor, I wouldn't have done that. And so what that's enabled me to do is make some key changes to personnel, and also we're really fortunate that some of the great personnel that we've had over the years, they were up for the challenge of going to try something else as well and moving on, which was certainly really amicable and really good. So we were able to adjust and change our overhead levels substantially over the last 12 months. And that's enabled us to adjust to this COVID thing very easily.
Yeah, right, okay. And you're still adjusting now on a daily basis with it?
I wish it hadn't happened, but certainly we're adjusting all the time. I mean, Mr. Morrison and the government, I felt, have done an awesome job. The JobKeeper thing for us has been amazing.
Yeah.
It's enabled us to keep our key staff members out on site, because most of our guys, unlike most builders, aren't subcontractors. They're on wages. So therefore, it's enabled us to keep those people out on site. Our staff in our office that we have now are amazing and very flexible. And one of the things that we've been able to do over the last few years is, particularly with some of the people that work for us, the ladies in particular, they've become very flexible with their work hours.
Yep.
So if we're busier, they'll work more. If we're not as busy, they'll cut back.
Yeah.
So that's been really good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. You've mentioned mentors a couple of times now.
Yeah.
Where do people find the right mentors? Like, I've got plenty of friends, but that maybe wouldn't take the advice in business, and I've also got a lot of business friends that I want to get advice from. However, I feel like I can't approach them to become a mentor because they're too busy, or that you need to pay for those mentors? How do you find them?
Oh, it's an interesting one. So one of my current business partners, if you like, or person that is involved helping me set up our strategies around the 10 out of 10 thing that we have in our business, which is a really interesting strategy, a really interesting way to do business, is Yarrawonga. He's a really smart fellow, and he's a mentor as well as a person that comes in as a consultant to me in my business and helps me with that. I did a seminar with him in Melbourne with some very high profile people on the panel, and I was one of the people on the panel. I was fairly intimidated, mind you. Yeah. When I got there, I thought no one's going to ask me anything, and that was one of the questions I got asked. And interestingly enough, it is hard because a lot of the people that you feel you'd like to get mentored off, you feel if you ask them, they'll probably say no, so you tend to not ask. Mm-hmm. I say ask. Yeah. I say ask because most people will give you the time, will help you, if they feel that you're serious about it, if they feel that you're going to take some of that advice on board. Yeah. My mentors, fortunately, one of my mentors, Ross Taylor, who run a very large business in Melbourne, a very experienced person, he actually just built a house with me. I became friends with him, and then he started to talk to me about business, and ever since he's been one of my key mentors. Yeah. You know, he helps me a lot with my business strategy. Another person, Max Thomas, who's a great friend of mine who runs a large landscaping business in Melbourne, handles large projects. You know, he's a guy that, again, I just not necessarily be mentored by, but he'll give me advice and help me get through areas that are tough. Yeah. So mentors aren't necessarily always people, in my eyes, that you're dealing with every day or every week. It may be that you might only talk to them for half an hour session once every month, yeah, or 10 minutes every now and again, or when you're desperate and you require some help. Yeah. There. So you can, most people will help you, even if they're super busy, they will help you, they will give you the time. And I guess it's about you finding how to get that time from them, understanding when would be convenient for them to chat to you. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Some good advice there. Now, we could talk business all day, Ken, but just mindful of time. I normally say you've got one question to ask the audience. What would you like to ask for those who are watching? What would you like to ask or get some answers back from?
I guess what I probably find difficult to understand in the building industry is we all know, and it's common knowledge in the building industry, that, you know, there's lots of different ways that you can cost a home. Mm-hmm. The way that we do it is that we cost everything up to the cent for the client, and we try to charge absolutely zero extras unless the client wants extras done in that house. Yep. It doesn't always work that way because some clients do want quite a few extras during the build, and they understand that that's the case. However, I consistently see builders out there quoting jobs and virtually not giving a fixed price. Yep. And I consistently see those builders getting lots of work. What I'd like to ask the audience is, why don't they want a fixed price contract? Or if they don't understand what that means, yeah, would they like more information on it? So you've had
people come back to you saying that they don't want a fixed contract?
No, so interestingly enough, I've had lots of people come to me and probably say we're too dear, and I say to them at the time, well, I don't really understand that. Yeah. And then they'll show me a price from another builder which is very grey. So when I explain to them that the inclusions aren't there, they generally end up building with us because they understand that these prices that they're getting elsewhere, or so-called prices, aren't fixed. Yeah. And they don't really understand it. Sometimes people only see what they want to see, mm-hmm, and I find that difficult to understand when the biggest investment in your life generally, other than your health, is going to be building a house. Yeah. So yeah, it would be good to understand from the audience, do they understand what it means, fixed price, or, yeah, you know, what is very grey in building price.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So give us some feedback, guys. Tell us what you do you understand what a fixed contract is? And have you built before and experienced times where you've had extras added on once you've started the building process? I know I've heard many stories about it before. I've built twice myself. Both had fixed contracts most of the time, but I have heard stories of other people who haven't, and when they started to build, it was extras and extras and extras.
Yeah.
Often costing in between $20,000 and $50,000 plus.
Yeah.
So keen to hear what everybody's got to say. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, please yell out to Ken. He builds a quality home from Yarrawonga, Benalla, Cobram, Baruga, don't go to Shepparton?
Yeah, we go anywhere virtually within an hour of Yarrawonga. We've built in Shepparton, we've built in Echuca, we've built in Albury, Slee, Wangaratta. We do a lot out around the country areas, you know. We go out to Berrigan and all those type of places. So anywhere within that sort of circle around Yarrawonga, hour and a half is not a problem at all.
Yeah. So if you are in the market, give Ken a call and speak to Ken or Beck. They'll be able to help you with that. But don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And thanks for watching again. See you next week.